Hello there, Azer here, back with another video. I just wanted to give a forewarning for most people who are anticipating for the next NGS headline here. My advice for you is that don't expect way too much from the NGS team to deliver somehow. Firstly, right, these whole this whole drama about Japanese players voicing out their concerns for PSO2 New Genesis. This thing happens quite recently. You know, if the developers have been creating content for the whole roadmap thing, right, for the longest time, they usually complete it. They usually are probably completing it like 2 months ahead of time. So I do not expect any huge changes to the next presentation of anything. I think the only thing that they might do is maybe explain much more about the current situation of their development team and why that the contents are not satisfactory according to the survey that they handed out for every single player to rate the game's performance on. So I mean, sure, we are just providing statistic that maybe they did not expect. They are probably giving us, they are probably doing this whole survey because they are expecting the players to spend more money, but they probably realize that a lot of players are not exactly spending as much money on AC themselves. Now, of course, the revenue slump cannot be 100% attributed to because the game is just, giving zero content per se. No, not really. I think the fashion team who is making all the AC scratch stuff are still as creative as ever. Like, till today, I think they are still the greatest fashion designers out there because, let's be real here, right? Every single AC scratch, there will always be something interesting out of it. Even if it's pretty bland sometimes, the accessories would make up for how bland the main items are, At least there is always creativity on how we can actually utilize those accessories for ourselves, and a lot of those people who love cosplaying or dress up as their OCs or their characters to relation with something, or just make something that is very, very exciting out of those new outfit choices. It's always endearing, alright? And that's what I've seen for literally the past 4 years ago when after NGS releases. And I think the main reason on why the AC scratch profits are probably not rolling in as much is because of the economic situation that's going on at the moment in Japan and also the rest of the world. Well, you would expect that, wars are going to ruin economies. Of course, it's going to affect AC scratch sales, right? So I think that is probably the main reason why they are finally asking us the real questions. Is NGS good for you, or how good is the entirety of the experience of playing NGS as a whole? Now, I know, I can maybe, elongate this video into like an hours on end, kind of an ordeal to explain on why, they actually had to do this, or the reasoning on why they put out updates very, very similar to each other, despite, having all these AC scratch churning out every single month. I think it's probably the problem from the higher up management, but at least but I'll just say this once, right? At least they promised us that story content will be much more consistent and will be delivered every single 4 months. So at least they cook behind the scenes, I suppose. Because previously, story is literally just stuck in one single chapter and it just never goes to the next one. It is literally stalling us for just as long as how, when the Japanese players has to play episode 6 for literally a whole year before NGS was announced. Just the same thing like that, I guess. So who knows? Maybe they are going to change their ways because of this new feedback that we are finally giving to them. I have write a lot of stuff into that feedback bracket about how you actually should improve the game and whatnot. And I believe a lot of content creators out there and a lot of Japanese players definitely have voiced whatever they could fit into that text box there, and hopefully they are able to understand our grievances towards NGS, and we just wish the best for this game to continue on, because at this point the only main reason on why PSO2NGS somehow outlives every single live service games or even gacha games that's died like very recently in recent years is just because they have a very loyal Japanese players base. And I wish they finally hear their voices and change their ways of how to make a proper Phantasy Star game instead of just doing whatever they are doing now. Because let's be real here, right? It's not gonna change. If they are still going to repeat this repetitive seasonal content cycle over and over again, everybody will get tired, and eventually the number will actually go down to zero in the global side. And I don't really want that to happen. And unfortunately, as much as as optimistic I am about the whole story content that's coming out next month, I am still going to hope that they actually execute it well. Because if the story is going to come out and we are just able to complete the story in just like, I don't know, one sitting, and then we have to wait for the next story chapter again, it will be pretty bad if we do not have sufficient content to fill in between the story wait again. I hope the story will finally bring us to the conclusion that we wanted, instead of just stalling it and, making mini chapters all over again. I wish they explain it properly on why there's some mysteries behind the Outer Realm, why is there a mysterious fake Crawford communicating with us. I hope there is actually a reasoning behind that, because that's kinda alarming, I guess. So I just wish that they also utilize more of their mocap technology, and that we have more concerts, which I know there's another concert coming up, but man, just give Nadare a break, man. She's just singing the two same songs over and over again. At least in the original PSO2, at least Kuna sings like different songs and have different concert themes and stuff like that. At least that will spice up things, right? I hope they would do the same for the concert scene as well, because rarely players are actually watching the current NGS concerts actively anymore like in the past. So that is the thing that they need to change. The creativity, the soul of the game is slowly slipping away by the time. And I just wish that, they are able to capture the essence of Phantasy Star like in their past, and I do not want them to fail. And that's my opinion of the current situation of NGS, and I'll see you guys after the whole NGS headline again. Okay, and hopefully they do not disappoint us all, and that's it. Sayonara.